everyone, it's Anna here, and today I have not only a process video for you, but the first part will be about ideas on how to use up busy patterns. So I gathered some on my desk. As you can see, they are eye-poking me very much. I am not used to such busy patterns. And I have few tricks in mind to share with you. But first, I will start with a disclaimer that I am not a fan of busy patterns. I usually do not order them unless they are fussy cutting ables. So if the pattern is easy to fussy cut elements out of it, sure, I will buy it. But if the pattern looks like this is something I would probably not put into my basket unless it's the B side of other patterns. So I would probably order this paper for this side, and this would be like an extra that I can use, but I know I spent my money for this side. So I would divide busy pattern papers into two categories. The ones that you can use for fussy cutting, and those are the ones that I buy, and the ones that are just busy patterns, which I usually avoid. So I had a little problem to find some among my stuff, and if I have them, it's usually because I got them in my design team package. I rarely spend my own money on busy papers. So, but still I have to sometimes work with them. So, as I mentioned, I have some that are easy for fussy cutting and I purchased them for this particular reason, and some like this that I can use the B side, but if the B side would also be busy, I would have problem with using this pattern. And most of the papers with busy pattern that I gathered are the ones with flowers. I think this is the most common thing, but some of them are also like this. So there is a very busy pattern with stamps, and you can use it like a whole, but you can cut it into parts. And this one was purchased because I was thinking about cutting those stamps, not about using them as a whole. So this one I would purchase for this side, but not for this side. Here is another busy pattern. It's from Mint Eye Papers collection. In each collection they have like a very busy floral pattern, and in this case I purchased it because of the B side, of course, but some of those flower clusters could be cutted out, so this is not a lost cause for me. I would definitely try to fussy cut some of those. This paper is busy and I wouldn't use it as a whole, but again, I would try to maybe fussy cut those, but I bordered it because of this side. It's not so easy to find clusters for fussy cutting because they overlap a lot. So when I purchase paper, I usually just check if die cutting only a part of it is possible, or I would have to, like, lose some part of element because it will be covered by other elements. So this one wasn't purchased by me because of this side. It was this side that sold me this paper. In this case, I bought it for this side for sure, but I had in mind I will be cutting out this. This one is, I would say, the worst paper ever for me, well, if I would have to work as a whole, because first, it's busy. Second, it's very dark. This is something I do not like to do. I rarely make dark pages. So black backgrounds, this is something that black or very dark backgrounds that screams to me, do not buy it. But in this case, I wanted to have all those cute frames, and I do not only want to cut the whole frame, but I sometimes just prefer the element inside the frame, so it gives me extra elements for fussy cutting. And the same with this pattern. This is a very busy one, but I bought it because I wanted to fussy cut it. And here is another one, busy pattern, but in this case you can find some flowers for fussy cutting, so it's a yes in this part. But I bought it because of it. But I will be using this one in my project later. And here is the paper that it's not necessarily a very busy pattern because the elements are quite small, but it's dark, and I wouldn't use it as a background looking like this. I would only use pieces of it, and I bought it because of the rainbow. So this is the first disclaimer, and we are already 5 minutes into the video, which already gave up the idea number one for using busy patterns. So number one idea is cutting out elements out of it. So do not treat it as a whole 12 by 12, use it as a source of elements. So as I mentioned, here you can cut out frames or elements inside the frames, and it gives you so many extra ephemera pieces for the collection for a fraction of a cost of the ephemera pack, that I usually buy papers like this to kind of extend my collection, use them in albums as an embellishment. So number one, cutting out the pieces of the paper, but again, not every paper is good for this purpose, so not every busy pattern can be used this way. So it was the first one. Second one second one is using something that mutes the pattern. And this something can be a piece of vellum. Of course, you can purchase them in 12 by 12 sizes. I couldn't find my source of 12 by 12 vellums. I put it somewhere to not lose it, and yeah, you can predict what happened later. So as you can see, it makes the very busy pattern much less visible and eye-popping. So using a piece of vellum on the whole sheet of 12 by 12 paper, or on the part of it as a base of your composition, like let's say I would like to use this paper, I would place the vellum here and then build the composition around this area, so the picture would still pop. Let me check if I have a picture. It's a Christmas picture, but you get the point. So picture on top of the vellum and picture on top of the pattern. It kind of disappears. If it wouldn't have the white frame, it would totally melt into the background. But with white vellum, well, vellum, not white vellum, but with the vellum underneath, it makes the picture pop much more, and then you can add some embellishments and they would be still visible. And with the vellum, you can go both ways. You can use a piece of it as a base of your composition, leaving the rest of the paper visible, but you can also cover the whole paper and get this very subtle design. I wouldn't do that because it doubles the cost of the base. First you have to pay for the paper, then you have to pay for the whole 12 by 12 vellum. Unless I would be running out of 12 by 12 papers and I will be very motivated to use it this way. So there is another option. Option number 3. You can use vellum, but sorry for the big piece. You can also use like this very thin paper. This one is from the shoe box, so the shoes were wrapped within it, but let me cut the piece of it to show you. So this is option number 3. Piece of very thin, like a wax paper, I would say, and it works exactly like a vellum, but it has the better something. You can warp it like this and it will look amazing with the old texture. You can just use machine stitching to secure it, or just warp it and use it like this on the paper, and it will give you extra texture. The pattern from beneath will still be visible, but much less than with vellum, as you can see. And I would use it only as a piece. I wouldn't cover the whole paper. I would just tear it down to leave these ruffled edges and use it on the pattern like this, under the picture and under the composition that I am going to add on this page. So piece of recycled wax paper, that can be found in when they pack the boxes, or in the shoes, or maybe sometimes there is a paper that you wrap your sandwiches with that is also semi-transparent. You can use that. So the wax paper, I would call it. So it was the third solution. The fourth solution is cutting the paper into the smaller pieces. So you can make a collage, patchwork, mixing busy patterns with softer patterns. And I have an example here. Sorry. This is one of my older pages, but as you can see, I mixed this very busy pattern. I think it's even the same as in here. Yeah, I think this is this paper. So I mixed the very busy patterns. They are five squares of this pattern with less busy papers, with more solid colors and more kind of muted designs. There is still pattern on some of them, but it's not so, you know, vivid. So this is another idea, and we will discover this idea later when I will be making my project. So I'm going to make something sort of similar to this. I will be making collage, patchwork, or something like this. So this is the fourth idea. The fifth idea is using busy paper as a 12 by 12 frame for another paper in smaller versions. So let's say you want to create composition on this paper, but you have extra paper that you want to use. So you would use it as a frame. I will take them from behind so they will not interfere. So you would use it like this, and then you would have nice frame around your page. Of course, you need to trim this one. It's still visible, but it's not so busy when it's covered partially. You can use it bigger, smaller. You can make it like very small element inside that will be a base of your composition with everything around like this. Even this super busy pattern looks really nice when you pair it with very calm pattern in pink or blue color, depending on which one you will choose from the background. So this is the, I think it was the fifth. Yeah, it was the fifth idea. And the sixth one is more advanced, and it needs a mixed media to be put to work. You can cover the paper using gesso or white acrylic paint. You just use the scraper or a white brush and brush the gesso or the acrylic paint all over the busy background, and you can kind of create also the inner part, leaving the frame. The downside of this idea is, I would say, wrapping of the paper. Even if the paper is quite thick, it still ruffles and wraps because you add moisture to it. So if you like mixed media look, you can work with gesso like this. I will create a video for you some time in the future showing you this. But lately I do not feel like much mixed media I want to try. I like inks, but with like a thicker version, like a gesso, I just don't feel it. So this was the sixth idea, and probably there are some more that didn't pop into my head right now. Maybe if you have them, add them in the comments, and I will create like a blog post, not blog post, Instagram post with ideas, so we will gather them together for an easy reference. And now I'm logging out and I will be back in a second with process video for a page made with a busy pattern, and we will use the technique where we cut busy pattern into the smaller pieces. Probably I will cut out some elements from the pattern, so we will combine 2 or 3 of those ideas on one page. So See you soon.
And thanks to the magic of video editing, I am back. I will be scrapbooking this fun picture of my older daughter eaten by a crocodile. And I am using 𝐒𝐫𝐻 collection. It's not a new collection. I am not sure if you can purchase it anymore. Maybe some leftovers in some of the shops, but it's not important. You can use whatever you want. It's just a technique. So you can recreate it with other pattern papers. As I will be creating sort of a patchwork, I picked 6 by 8 papers. From this collection, I purchased 6 by 8 paper pad mostly, and only few pattern papers that I knew that I will like as bigger pieces or backgrounds. So most of the busy patterns in this collection come from 6 by 8 paper pad. As you can see, I chose a variety of patterns in different colors, but I am trying to avoid the blue color. My picture is quite greenish earth tones, so I decided to go into greens, coral, yellow, but to skip the blue one. Um, and you will see me cutting out those blue strips from this paper because I want to keep this layout warm in color. There are still some blue tones here and there, but they are um, very easy to left unnoticed. As you can see, I cut out all the blue parts, and I have the strips, the squares with pink, yellow, orange, and green. So this is my go-to color palette in this case. And you can see the piece of blue paper that is picking from the 6 by 8 paper pad, that it's a very vivid blue. So, it's very eye-catching. Some of the patterns are lighter. I have one darker green pattern, but some of them, in my definition, are quite busy. The papers that I wouldn't use as a whole or in a bigger piece. So this is just the perfect to use them up. I have 12 by 12 paper sheet in one color, a white color, and I found the middle part, and then I am adding lines that goes from the corners through the middle point, and I'm using my pencil to lightly sketch them, and they will be like a guideline for creating my patchwork. I am starting in the middle, so those 4 squares will be the first first layer, and then I'm adding more. At first, I'm just arranging them, so I still have time to change places in between. And at this point, I wasn't sure if I want them to cover the whole 12 by 12 sheet. And I started with creating this sort of the square, and then I added 2 extra in each corner. And after I finished that, I was wondering maybe I should fill it to the very edges, but I decided to keep it this way. As you can see, I am mixing papers. I have not each square is a different pattern, so I'm just trying to scatter them around so they will not be too close to each other when it comes to the same patterns. And this is the shape I was describing to you. So at this point, I was thinking, should I stay here or should I add the triangles in those empty areas, but I decided to keep it like this, and now it's time to glue everything down. And I'm just using glue that takes a little time to dry, so I have time to adjust the alignment. I want them to look neat and straight. And for a while, I was wondering about adding machine stitching to each square, but then my laziness won. So I decided to only add the false stitching with this super handy tool I will show you later. But if you would like to add stitching to each square, you would have to do it before you glue them down, or you can add machine stitching through all the squares, like go with the lines, the same that I will be doing with false stitching, and it will also look good. Honestly, I was wondering about doing that, but I checked my sewing machine and I saw that there is a gray thread added right now, and I was too lazy to replace it with white one because I wanted to use white for the stitching, and I was like, nah, yeah. So this layout could have been even better if I wouldn't be that lazy. I am using this red tube of glue. This is the Polish company called, I don't remember how it's called, but the glue is called Magic Glue, and it's a Kamaben company, and it's a cheap glue that costs like less than $1 for the tube, and there is how much? 45 grams of glue in this tube. You can purchase the bigger bottles, but they do not have this handy narrow tip. Uh, I am erasing the lines that I sketched previously because I want my layout to look clean. And you could see for a brief moment that I was using recycled white cardstock. I had those word strips for cards that I do not use a lot. So I decided to use this white cardstock instead. So those are just the back side. And there is the tool that I described previously. It's a tool for tailors that they can use to kind of mark holes when where the stitching has to go. So when you do a hand stitching, you run it through, and then you have those neat holes, and you just need to go with your thread around it. So I went with every direction, and you could do exactly the same with stitching. So just go through all of the squares, just like I'm going with the tool. And if you have this tool, this is a very, very cheap tool. I have no idea how it is called in English. In Polish, it's radełko. Uh, but what I wanted, it works better if you use it on the soft surface, not on the hard. So the indentations will be deeper. So I'm using silicone mat sometimes to place it under the paper I'm going to add false stitching, and it's deeper and nicer then. Here is the another technique I shared with you today about um, using busy papers is using a piece of vellum, and I added it behind the picture. I want this picture to pop more from the background, and a piece of vellum, like a vellum frame, makes it pop more than with just the picture on the papers, because using the squares of variety of busy patterns, I created even more busy pattern here. For some of you, it may seem like a more busy pattern. For me, it's like more um, usable than I would use the whole sheet of floral paper. I'm going through ephemera pieces from Kid at Heart collection. I have ephemera pieces and journaling pieces, and I'm picking elements that may work with my project. So it's not like I'm going to use all of them. I'm just browsing through them to pick the ones that may work with my project, and I will try them on the layout, and then if I will not use them, I will put them back in the bag. And as you can see, I am keeping them in those plastic envelopes for CDs because the original packaging was very narrow. It was so hard to put it back. I just cut it out the backing with all the elements added, so the miniatures, and I'm keeping them in those CD envelopes. it's a more convenient way, and the CD envelopes are so cheap that, you can spend only a few złotych or dollars to get like 100 of them. And they are wider, so it's easier to put back anything you choose to use. So I also have those foam stickers from this collection with phrases, and I have 6 by 12 sticker sheet. I have sticker book with, I think, about 8 pages to choose from with stickers. And as this is the picture of crocodile eating my daughter alive, I chose this collection because it has some crocodiles. They are more playful than the wild crocodile that ate my child. But this is the only collection that I could think of that has some wild animals that I own, apparently. So wild animals will be replaced with cute wild animals. So I'm just creating a composition, and I use flower clusters. I don't know if you have noticed it, but one of the flowers in flower clusters is blue. And as I mentioned before, I'm trying to avoid a lot of blue, and this one was very like out of place. I'm hiding the blue flower behind, in this case, other layer, or with the jumping frog, I covered the blue flower with the frog. Some of the elements are glued down using foam tapes, foam squares like here. Some of them are glued down flat, but most of them are raised above the surface because, I like dimension. So I'm just playing here and there. There is no mixed media in this layout, although I will be adding some yellow splatters to make it all more vivid, I would say. So those are all the elements that I pre-chose first that they may work with my design. So I chose the ones that have good color, the one that have motifs that may work with what I want to do, the inscriptions that may work with my theme. So this was my pre-selection, and I always work like this. I think this is a very good tip to not overwhelm yourself when you are working with collection or picture or whatever. Narrow down the elements you may want to use and then pick from them only. If I would have to go through all the ephemera pieces each time I'm looking for something, it will took me much more time. And now it's title time and it's Into the Wild. I was inspired by one of the foam stickers from this collection, and I was even going to use it, but it was just too square. But this alpha, don't ask me which collection is it, because I have it for a while and it doesn't have the title on the collection. Maybe it was even from this collection, maybe not. Those are just stickers. And I'm just arranging the title the way I want it to look before I will press, like here, to make the glue hold. And with the foam stickers, I'm not always adding extra glue because it sticks quite well, but with other stickers, I'm always adding drop of glue under each letter. And here you can see me browsing through elements, checking what can work with my design. Those are the stickers from the sticker book that I am wondering which one I could choose. And I found this green sentiment, and I used it because it was green and the text matches the theme of my layout, but I just wanted something green to have. And I also found those smiley faces. I think I found like a bees, hearts, so all the elements that work with the theme of my page. This is my favorite part of creating a project the main composition and main, thought process is already done, and I can just go with elements, trying them here and there. So I really, really like this stage of creating. And I am keeping my color palette in mind. So I'm using the colors that are already here. I'm skipping the blue and the purple that are present in this collection, which is like, helping me to keep it all consistent. I added few flowers, so they will match the flower clusters behind the critters that I added. Some very like a basic scrapbooking process. And after everything is done, I am adding some yellow splatters, and those yellow splatters are made with the all shimmers mist. It was called Sunset Strip. It was the vibes. Uh, uh, but I'm not sure if they make them anymore because my collection is few years old. I was on the design team of shimmers for a while, so I have like a set of those mists to play with. And I am finishing everything with puffy stickers. They are so adorable, and I had the whole new pack and never used before. And this is the final stage with splattering with yellow. I'm not covering my picture because it was printed with Canon selfie, which covers the picture with this protective layer, and you can wipe the ink. But if I would print it on the inkjet printer, I would cover my picture for sure. So this is the final stage. Here are some close-ups of the finished layout. I hope you like it. I hope I help you a little bit with busy patterns. Let me know if you have some other ideas in the comments. I will try to gather them together and use them maybe for some summary post or something like this. Let me know what you would like to learn next from me. How can I help you in your crafty journey? Don't forget to subscribe and see you soon on some other video. Bye!